There are more than 2,000 separate governments in Washington state. Every few years, each one of them is required to be reviewed by the state auditor's office.
Now, that law safeguards taxpayers against mismanagement and fraud, but each year, more than 100 of those governments fail to cooperate with the auditor. Chris Ingalls joins us now with the latest on his ongoing series, Money Down the Drain. And we're talking about some of these who have not complied in, what, decades?
Yeah, decades, a couple decades in some cases, and with no apparent consequences. Tonight we are exposing one of the 10 most wanted, the 10 special purpose governments that have not been audited by the state in 15 years. They keep collecting your taxes even though no one really knows what they're doing with your money.
Tax time in Pierce County. Property tax bills for about 1,000 residents in Fife include this line item tax for a drainage district. On Smith Road, for example, this homeowner was billed $35.02 this year. This one, $25.62, and this one, $33.42.
So you paid $28.19, and you're not sure where that money's going.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of curious now. Thank you for coming and introducing this to me.
You didn't know this?
Not at all.
It's a small enough tax that residents wouldn't notice. Owners of larger commercial and industrial properties wouldn't look twice either. One of the most valuable properties is owned by the Fife School District. It owes $3,137 in drainage taxes this year.
I'd like to know where that's going. I would.
That question has swirled around the trenches of Pierce County Drainage District number 23 for 16 years. That's the last time the 3 elected commissioners who manage these flood control ditches fulfilled state law and opened their books for an audit. District 23 is on the list of 10 Washington governments that collects taxes or fees, but have refused financial review for 15 years or more by the Office of Washington Auditor Pat McCarthy.
We can use the Attorney General's office if we think there's crime, but we're a civil entity, so we can only just raise that issue up and let the legislative bodies take care of those problems.
So, no one takes action, as Pierce County Drainage District 23 collects about $180,000 in taxes each year. The tax bills keep coming, even though much of the 70-year-old open trench system is being covered up by development and transferred to the City of Fife's storm drain system, for which residents pay a separate tax. We obtained these county records showing District 23 sits on a growing pile of money with more than $1.3 million in cash reserves.
That's a lot of money. That's what I'm saying. That's $1.3 million. What are they doing with it?
So what do you say to the taxpayers out there that are paying their money, being assessed, about how well their money's being spent?
We're utilizing their money the best we can.
Max Hackus is one of the longest-serving elected officials in the entire state.
And this is the actual ditch?
That's the actual ditch, yes.
He's been a District 23 commissioner since 1974, and he maintains an archive of the district's historical documents.
The state auditor says your district has not responded
Well,
to an audit.
they better check with the county because they have the authority over us. They verify, and they're the ones that write the check.
Hackus says taxpayers can rest assured because Pierce County government is monitoring the district's expenses. Not so, says the county assessor, who contends the county's role is to tax and keep books for the district, but not to question its expenses.
As long as those procedures are being followed, the actual use of the funds, is not being audited by Pierce County.
Retired bus driver Dave Lamberson is the District 23 elected commissioner who submits the most bills to Pierce County for payment. And state auditors' records show repeated requests for financial documents have been delivered to his house here in Fife. Like the auditor's office, we got no response to repeated calls and messages left with Lamberson. And his co-commissioner says Lamberson discouraged him from talking to us.
He said for me not to let you guys talk to me because it was a big farce.
But we easily spotted one red flag in this expense report Lamberson submitted to the county last year. He bills around $367 for a monthly meeting, even though state law grants commissioners only $90 per meeting. It may be a small thing, but who knows what else an auditor might uncover.
They have sent notices year after year after year that have not been answered.
That's a bunch of bull. And I'll tell them right off.
Expenses include this pump house to help water flow into Puget Sound, maintenance, electric, and grass cutting bills. The district's expenses last year totaled $86,000. Most of that money paid out on Lamberson's signature alone. No state audit, no one asking questions.
When were you last on the ballot? The 1980s, maybe?
Maybe.
It's been a long time.
Correct.
Because of an obscure state law, commissioners have not been required to hold a public election in decades. No voter oversight and no real awareness that this public agency even exists. It all makes for murky waters in Pierce County Drainage District number 23.
So there's no hanky-panky going around the back. No.
I would really like to know where they're spending this money now.
The refusal to be audited is a big deal, and you only have to look at our previous money down the drain investigation to see why. The longtime commissioner of King County Drainage District number 5, who you see here, is facing possible criminal charges and even an FBI investigation after we showed how he funneled $400,000 tax dollars into his own bank account. Alan Ben Thomas of Enumclaw denies that, but because of that quirky state law that allows a drainage district commissioner to hold an office without election, King County basically fired all the drainage commissioners in the South County, and it's appointing new ones. And we expect that state lawmakers will make some changes and look at some revisions to these special purpose districts when they meet in session next year.
There's so much going on in that story. I had so many questions. I think you answered just about every one of them. There seems to be that separation of power between the auditor and the legislature, and the auditor doesn't seem to have enough power to go after. Is anybody talking about giving the auditor more teeth to do anything about this?
Yes, that is happening. One of the things that State Senator Reuven Carlisle of Seattle will propose probably is cutting off funding for those governments that don't open their books to the auditor. That just seems like a simple, basic step that should have happened a long time ago, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Chris, keep at it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.